and I want a special welcome for Daniel and Margaret from my own county, County Clare. So look, I'll go to Daniel and Margaret. I've heard hemp described as a wonder crop, and we heard that here last week. I know both of you have had heavy involvement in hemp production and its potential on Loophead Peninsula, both at community and personal business level. Now, a number of questions. Can you both outline the biggest challenges you faced on your journey to date?
Yeah, so basically one of the biggest challenges is when a farmer grows this crop, he has nowhere to go with it at the end of the day. So he may as well not grow with it. Unless we have a processing facility that can decorticate this, you don't have a product at the end of the day. The money has to be invested into that side of it, and that's the big... Licensing is another issue as well. It kind of puts farmers off because it's under the Misuse of Drugs Act, and this is not a drug at the end of the day. This is an industrial crop that we can grow houses, we can make insulation, we can make protein for animals, for fruit, for humans. There's so many potentials, but we've nowhere to go with it and we've nowhere to process it. So that's what's blocking the industry at the moment, to be honest.
What's your views, Margaret?
Yeah, I'd have similar views to Daniel. We found that we could break the taboo, this controlled substance taboo. It was very easy to get over that with farmers. Outreach, information, education, and you're past that barrier. But if we were to talk to any other enterprise and say, seek finance for your business, if we were to go to the Department of Enterprise and say, I've got a lovely business proposal here, they're going to say, give me your business plan. Show me a 5-year plan. How can a farmer have a 5-year plan when he can only get a 1-year licence? It's actually impossible. So it's an impediment to the farmer. So the regulatory and licensing matters are an impediment, whether we like it or not. And if we're serious about developing this industry, that impediment needs to be addressed. And I would also say then, just like Daniel said, there is no infrastructure. So the farmer produces the plant. The minute you cut it, it starts to release carbon. So we're negating some of the carbon benefits. If we store it, we're releasing carbon. So what we need to do is give them access to market, to decortication infrastructure, guarantee the farmers a price, give them access to market, and let them produce it like any other crop.
Thank you. What benefits do you think this crop has for coastal communities?
It's got massive benefits, to be honest. A lot of the marginal ground there, not a lot of things will grow in it. But as I say, with hemp, you can grow it. As I say, I have farmers ringing me on a weekly basis looking to do 50, 100 acres. The drive is there for farmers. They want to grow it. And as I say, this is a crop that actually could make them some money,
Yeah. How does hemp biochar support the farming sector with the water framework directives and minimise of the use of fertilisers?
Well, hemp is obviously got a long taproot. I'll let Daniel talk a bit more about the science of it. But in terms of the biochar, the production of biochar is the pyrolysis of hemp. So you burn it at a very high temperature with no oxygen. So there's very little carbon emissions from the process. You produce this, what's effectively like a little charcoal. You put it back in the ground, that locks in carbon, puts it into the ground, and it's a really effective soil amendment. But it's organic. So
I had one thing there too as well. The fact with the biochar, it's got all these little tiny capillaries to it. So if you add slurry into it, normally you add slurry to land, it starts running off into the rivers and we've got problems. Whereas you add the biochar to the slurry, it holds on to the nutrients, it locks it in so it doesn't, it stops that leaching from the soils, it holds on to the nutrients. It's like a supermarket for the plants. They can tap into it when they need it, and that stops all the runoff into the waterways.
So both of you would be positive it's good?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And biochar is also an effective use for subpar crop. So if you grow hemp and at the end of you have a bad growing year and your crop is poor, so the fibre density, the height, whatever, it's subpar, maybe not for use in the construction industry, maybe not acceptable, you can pyrolyse it and turn it into biochar and use it as a soil amender. So this crop, it's a no-lose situation with growing hemp.
So you've literally pulled all that carbon out of the atmosphere, you've locked it in the stalk, turned it into biochar, now you've put it back into the soil, and you've amended the soil, and you've carbon put back into the soil.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Now, what was the feedback from the farmers who have been involved in the hemp pilot project on Loophead?
Well, I suppose we were a bit shocked. We had a farm open day, so a farm walk, and we were expecting what you would normally get on a small EIP project, we're not in a very central location. I mean, we're as far flung as you can get on the West Coast. So we were expecting a local turnout. We had in the region of 80 people, multiple farmers from all over the country who had gotten wind of this and wanted to see. They just wanted to real life, can I see a real working farm where this is growing, where it's not out of a textbook, in real life, boots on the ground. So it was remarkable. And then the farmers in Loophead themselves, they thought it was incredible. Just within 100 days, you've got a fully developed crop. I mean, it is quite amazing. But again, no access to market, and they were very off-put by the regulatory process. We supported the farmers with it, but they did find it very off-putting.
Yeah, we had to kind of go through the licensing step by step with them.
Yep.
Phone calls over and back, over and back. You send in a license department, there's one thing issued, the license comes back to you, you have to start again. It could take a couple of weeks to get the paperwork together. And there's some farmers that just go, I'm not bothered, it's too much effort to try and go through all this effort, you know?
And then have to do it again next year.
Yeah, and have to do it all over again.
If the guidelines were reviewed, do you think more people would get involved?
I think the appetite is there, and it'll be definitely a lot easier for farmers then to actually just get their application done. I've got it for 5 or 6 years, or actually just take out the licensing completely and put it over to the Department of Agriculture, because at the end of the day, it's not a narcotic. You know, it's a building material and it's got many other uses for it. And I think that needs to change.
I want to compliment you on the fabulous and fantastic work you have been doing, and hopefully you get more support going forward. Look, as we heard last week from the industrial and construction sector on hemp production, one person said they want to invest millions in this country. Others have imported because they can't source it here, which is very unfortunate, in a country that is ideal for growth, as we're all well aware. And we're well aware of the Kingspan investment was announced during the week. Now, Department, can you explain why the terms of reference for the commercial viability of hemp was restricted to fibre use only? And do you think this narrow focus contributes to the finding that the crop is not viable?
I think why it was restricted to fibre use only is because that was that was what was set out in the programme for government of the previous government. So it was included. It was a programme for government commitment that a consultation would be done on the potential for fibre crops and whether to have a viable market. So that's essentially the reason why it was for fibre use only. And apart from that, the other parts of the plant, apart from seed, they are not allowed to be. They are not allowed to be processed.
Is the department undertaking a review on hemp's viability on a whole plant multi-market basis, including construction grade hemp and biocomposite manufacturing, both established markets in other member states? What's your views?
I mean,
are you going to take a review?
Like we have done the consultation. Like we have done the consultation of hemp, as a fibre crop, and the outcome of that was fairly clear. A number of things have to happen, before we can, develop a fibre industry here. And two of the main things are, we need investment in processing, and we also need collaboration among all of the stakeholders, whether it be growers, whether it be processors, whether it be manufacturers, to all work together to develop, a proper functioning supply chain to give confidence to investors and to give confidence to farmers to actually grow the crop.